am a charger.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Trinity and welcome back for those of you that are just joining us. And if you are just joining us, please don't make it the last time that you've joined us. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on post notification so you'll be notified of when next another video will be dropping. As we're all aware, the month of May is always set aside for mental health awareness, and I've spent I think about 9 days now, and every single day I come in contact with interviews of people talking about their mental health, things that affect their mental health, and it's crazy. It's really crazy that there are little things and there are big things too that affect people's mental health, but just that we don't have the nerves to come out and talk about it, or we don't have the courage to come out and talk about it, simply because society has made it so wrong to talk about issues that affect your mental health. Society makes it look like you have to be perfect every time. Society makes you feel like you are not supposed to have mental health issues, and that is a lie. We all know every Nigerian student, every average Nigerian student has been through this phase, and I can tell you that maybe 9 out of 12 or 9 out of 15 students have had it really bad after college. Really bad in the sense that your mental health takes a very, 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 very low turn. When I mean low, I mean really low. Now, first thing you need to understand that immediately you drop your pen or immediately you defend a project in any Nigerian university, that's when life starts. That's when life starts. I mean, you'll just be like, okay, the euphoria or the euphoric feeling of finishing and passing through the 4 walls of the university. Most of the time it lasts for just a week. If yours lasts for a week, mine lasted for just 2 days, and I would knock back into reality. Mine just lasted for 2 days, and then now after that feeling you begin to think, okay, so what next? What do I do? Where do I go from here? My house rent is expiring, I have to go back home. How's home going to be like? Home expects you to have a job immediately you're done with school, and then you, maybe for some of us or some people, you have things you haven't cleared in school, you have clearance to do. All those things just begin to set in. The reality of all those things begin to set in, and then you just take a deep breath and like, wow. Now let's talk about Nigerian universities frustrating their students, especially when it comes to the clearance part. When it's time for you to, okay, you want to clear out your things you need to do before you go back home. Maybe you want to submit your projects, and then, or you have something to do, some payments you haven't made. That's when someone realized that you have to pay 500 naira, or you have to pay 1,000 naira, or you have to pay 2,000 naira for something that you're like, so okay, this is actually not supposed to be expensive, or it's not even supposed to have a price tag. But you find out that, okay, you're beginning to spend money, and okay, the money that you're spending now, where's the money going to come from? Because for some average Nigerian parents, by the time you tell them that you're done with school, the money stops coming in. Or some of us won't have had the conscience to ask, because be like, okay, what do I actually tell them that I need this money for? What do I tell them that I need this money for? You now begin to think, where do I get this? How does this? Who do I call? What's going on? How do I? God. Now, after that whole phase, if you were lucky enough to go through all that stage without having to fret or without having to shed tears, lucky you. And then now the next phase is when you sit and you're like, okay, what do I do if I'm going home? What do I start doing? How is it going to be like? What's a thing that I'm supposed to do with my life now? What am I supposed to do with my life now? And then most federal Nigerian universities take a very long time before they can submit your name for NYSC. So most of the time you're unknowingly sitting at home for a year, 6 months, 2 years, sometimes 3 years, and it's almost like you didn't go to school. Sometimes people begin to doubt if you've gone to school or not, and that takes a toll on your mental health, because each day you have to deal with snickering, you have to deal with people asking you random insensitive questions that they shouldn't. So you should, sometimes you can wake up in the night and you just start crying. I'm like, okay, it's not your fault. If it was your fault, well, I won't be here, but it's not your fault. I blame Nigerian universities. If they had submitted my name for NYSC, well, I won't be here for you to be dishing out all this insults. These are the issues, these are the things that happen. And then now, another bad thing is if you're possibly not a business oriented person. Now, when I mean a business oriented person, you couldn't learn a skill, you couldn't do something, you couldn't perfect something outside of what you read. That's another 1-0 with you having the 0. That's another 1-0 with you having the 0. You couldn't perfect a skill, you don't have a business of your own, you're not business oriented, you just want to have a 9 to 5 and just be comfortable. But the country that we are in now is not making provisions for 9 to 5. So, well, you come back home, and coming back home, God to help you, you are now in the 4 corners or the 4 walls of an average Nigerian home that don't know that things like mental issues or mental health actually does happen to people. And then you begin to come in contact with words that you shouldn't come in contact with. Words like, what are you still doing in my house? Why are you eating that amount of food? What is going on? Well, it's not your mates that are out there. What are your mates doing out there? What are your mates doing that you can't do? Who asked you not to learn? Go outside and hustle like your mates. Hustle where? Hustle how? Hustle in which country? Which country are we supposed to hustle in? The Nigeria that we are in today? This country, is this the country that they want you to hustle in? Well, sometimes I'm tempted to just be like, do am if it's easy. I know those moments come when they just finish talking and you just be like, do am if you think say easy. But well, they are our parents, we have to respect them. They are our relatives, we have to respect them. They are our seniors, we have to respect them. You know, these are some of the issues. Now, let's assume that life played you well, you played the very right card, you've gone for NYC, and you're back. Okay, you're back. Where do you want to get a job from if you don't have 8 years experience? Because technically, I mean, yeah, most Nigerian jobs require 8 years experience, 5 years experience, 10 years experience. Where am I supposed to get that from as a young graduate? I thought NYC was supposed to cover the experience that I need. And then some of the job requirements are so crazy that you just sit and you're tired of the country and you begin to find ways that how can I leave? How do I do this? How do I do that? And these are the issues, these are the things that have pushed a lot of well-meaning young Nigerians into crime. When you listen to some of their stories, sometimes you just want to shake your hand and be like, I actually don't blame you. I blame the country. I blame the system for actually failing you. And then sometimes on the other hand, you want to be like, but did you have to? But sometimes when you sit down, deep down in your chest, and you just think and you be like, deep down, maybe if things were different. Maybe if things turned out well. Maybe if the system favored the young people, it would have been okay. It would have been okay. You wouldn't have this much amount of crimes that we have on the street. But well, the system isn't okay, so we can't judge, we can't tell from characters, we just see what we want to see. These are the midlife crisis. These are issues that happen when you're done with school, sitting down at home and not knowing what you want to do, crying your eyes out, trying new. Sometimes you don't even have the energy to try new things. I know of people that just be like, okay, can I just go for NYSC first? When I go for NYSC, I'll now know what to do. But unfortunately, NYSC is not forthcoming, and then they are at the sport. That sport is caging them. They are crying their eyes out. They are annoyed, they are angry, they are aggressive, and then they can't tell why they are aggressive. It's because they are not okay and they don't have anyone to talk to. Nobody's going to understand. They can't talk to their parents. Their parents can't relate. Most Nigerian parents can't relate with mental health. You can't tell a Nigerian parent, an average Nigerian parent, that you're having a bad day. You can't tell them you're having a bad day. They will give you plates to wash. They feel like, okay, you're having a bad day because you don't have what to do. So let me give you what to do. Or if you were working, by the time you tell a Nigerian parent that you're having a bad day, and then your response is, if you had a job, you won't be having a bad day, what do? You keep quiet. You don't have anyone to relate to, and maybe person you're in a relationship with, your lover or your best friend or something, they can't relate, maybe because they have it better than you, or because they are dealing with their own issues. What I feel like a lot of people don't know, or a lot of people don't understand, that life after college is not as rosy as you think it is. It is scary, it is traumatizing, it is confusing, especially for most people who don't have it okay in their family, with families are not enlightened enough or exposed enough to know that this is the time that you need a lot of love, that this is the time that you're going to be needing all that love, all that encouragement. Most families don't know that this is your sensitive period in life. This is the period that would actually break you as an adult or make you as an adult. For me, I'm still having like my life after college crisis, but I've been able to overcome some of it. I've had helpful tips from people, I have listened to people, I have read books, so I'm just going to be like sharing with you tips that have helped me, tips that I feel like maybe will help you. First thing is, you should always, anyhow you want to, just have a plan. When I mean just have a plan, is try not to wait for NYC, because it's taking time now. NYC takes a lot of time now than it used to do this. So you have to have a plan. If your plan is you're going to have to learn apprenticeship somewhere, or you're going to go into that hobby that you want to go, just have a plan. Even if it's just a line, it's a plan. I plan to do this, I want to do this, this is what I want to do. Plan can be any way. A plan can be a letter word, a plan can be a sentence, a plan can be 2 sentences. Think and have a plan. And then the second tip that helps me was, I just somehow had to realize that this stage wasn't going to last forever. You have to understand that this stage will not last forever. So anytime I want to get depressed, or I want to start crying again, I just realized that, okay, easy, take a deep breath, this too will pass away. Take a deep breath, this too will pass away. Take a deep breath, Trinity, this too will pass away. Yeah. And then a third point that I think really helped me was, I started investing in my hobbies. When I mean investing, it doesn't necessarily have to be money. It may be your time, it may be your thought process. Invest in your hobby. I love writing and I love trucking. I guess investing in my hobby meant starting a YouTube channel. Investing in my hobby for me meant starting to be consistent with my blog. Investing in my hobby meant starting to be consistent with the novels or the material that I come in contact online. I set reasonable targets for myself, like, okay, I am going to read so amount of novels in how many days, in so days. I'm going to put up a blog upload how many days a week. I'm going to put up a YouTube video how many days a week. Investing in your hobbies could mean sitting, or it could mean just thinking about your hobbies, thinking about things that you want to do. For me, I have explained what investing in my hobbies was like for me. So you know your hobby, you know yourself, so you should sit and think about different ways that you can invest in your hobby, because in the long run it will actually help you. And then another tip that I had to realize was that I really was on my own. Nobody would actually know that. Nobody would feel how I felt. For me, nobody would truly understand how I feel, no matter how I explain it. So at that point, I just knew that I was on my own. And now, being on my own, it made me remove my sense of entitlement that I placed in my parents, I placed in my friends. It made me remove that sense of entitlement, like, okay, you're not actually supposed, My job is to tell you how I feel, how you relate to it. Fine, if you can tell me what I want to hear, fine. If you can't tell me, well, I'm not entitled to it. You don't have to. I think that really helped a lot, because by the time we have this overhyped sense of entitlement that we place in our parents, they're supposed to understand, why are they like this, why are they like that. You keep sinking deeper into the hole that anger, that aggression is putting you into. You keep sinking and sinking, and then by the time you realize that, okay, you can actually get out of this yourself, sometimes it's usually too late. So for me, I had to remove my sense of entitlement that I placed, the overhyped sense of entitlement that I placed in my parents and people around me. I just knew that, okay, if I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to people, but don't expect the oh, it's going to be all right, it's going to be fine, I have this, I know someone that can help. Truly, you'll be disappointed so many times. You will be disappointed. Just learn to know that you're enough. I feel like that's my next point. Learn to know that you're enough, and learn to know that you're doing enough for yourself at this point. Learn to know that you're doing enough, you're doing your best. This is how this country is, and I'm trying to fight against it. Just know that this is what you're doing. You're doing enough. You're doing enough. Don't let somebody come and stress you and push you into something that you're not supposed to be. This is the stage. Life is in stages. This is the stage that I am, and I know that I'm doing enough. Now, the next point is you should find new ways to upgrade yourself. Funny enough, there are materials online now. There are a lot of free materials online now. Not like before that you had to go through the rigors of signing out, signing in, paying for this, paying for that. There are a lot of free available materials online. There is YouTube here. There are blogs that people write about experiences. If you feel like, okay, they want to this is something I want to develop in, you should get across to materials online. It's part of developing yourself, so that when the opportunity comes for you to actually move up or move from the next stage of your life, it won't be said of you that you weren't ready. It won't be said of you that you weren't ready. Yes, so find a way to develop yourselves, and developing yourself these days is not as hard as it used to be. That's frankly the truth. Developing yourself these days is not as hard as it used to be. So I'm going to say that instead of moping around all day, crying all day, try to develop yourself, and then find new activities to develop. Find new activities to involve yourself in. For me now, my new activity is fitness journey. I have started a fitness journey, and my new activity is what keeps me busy. It's what keeps my brain racking. Okay, how do I formulate meal plans around something that I like, or how many calories am I supposed to take? It's a new activity. Find it. The thing is, people feel like you have to move mountains to actually do these things, but in the end, they are just the simple things that help your mental health, that help that help the way you think, that help your aggression, that help your sadness. Yeah, it's just the little things that matter. And then for me, as a Christian, I'm a Christian. I don't know about you watching, and I'm not trying to impose my religion on you. This would be a very good time to get really spiritual and connected to God. This would be a very good time, because this is your free time. This would be a very good time to get really spiritual and connected to God. Most of the time, this is the stage that usually helps you out of every other stage in life. This particular point is sometimes the only thing that can actually help you out of this point. I am talking to Christians actually. This is the only thing that may actually help you out of it. And that's just the truth. As a Christian, you actually know what I'm talking about. So yeah, and I think my last point, or the second to the last point that I'm going to say helped me, was I had to know what I wanted, and I had to go for it. You can't wait for the perfect time to do something. If you know what you want, start pursuing it, start going after it. And somebody said in her YouTube video that I watched, she said the earlier you know what you want for and start pursuing it, the better for you. This is the time to know what you want to do with your life. This is the time to sit down and think, and then start taking little steps to pursue it. There will never be a right time to do anything. If you're going to say, okay, I want to get a job first before I start developing myself, or I want to get a job first before I take on that writing classes, I want to get a job first before I take on that makeup classes, you're watching this video, there is data, you have time, you have data. Sit down. If it's makeup you want to learn, go to there are a lot of makeup classes, there are a lot of makeup videos that you can watch, there are a lot of art, there are a lot of web designing. There's everything online, everything is at our disposal now, and that is the truth. Take advantage of it, take advantage of it. And then next thing, I feel like the last thing, I learned to take life a day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time, one day at a time. I hope that my story or everything that I have said has inspired you to know that you're not alone in this what happens life after college experience. Please feel free to share your own experience in the comment section, and feel free to share the tips that actually helped you out of it in the comment section below. And don't forget, this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. Take time, evaluate your mental health. If you have to see a therapist, fine. If you have to read books to help your health, fine. But whatever you do, make sure that you take care of your mental health. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching. And by the way, if you found this video really interesting, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.